All right, so three, two, one. Hunter, nice seeing you again, mate.
Yeah, and always a pleasure.
How are you, dude?
Living the dream, just getting some coffee on a chat with you.
Awesome, awesome, mate. So thank you for jumping in. You know how this goes. So we're very interested in seeing your transformation. What has happened since you first joined, and how has that impacted you on the personal side, on the business side? So why did you join in the beginning? Because we've been working together for what, for like 5 months now? No, 4 months.
Something like that, yeah. I The main reason I joined was because, I knew that at this place I was, like I was growing and I was making my own way. But I also know that, you're the average of the five people you spend the most time with. And if I want to make big levels up, then I need to surround myself with people who are, making big moves. They're ahead of me because that's the only way I'm going to grow is by being around people ahead of me. And then also, having like a playbook to go by, like a guide. Like a lot of what we do in the entrepreneur founder space is we're kind of making it up as we go, at least in terms of
Mhm.
personal productivity. And like everybody has their own seeming to be their own definitions, but like with the self-mastered program, like I know like this is it. Like if I have questions or I burned out or anything, like I know that there's this protocol I can go to that will do it for me. Like I don't need to, there's no questions anymore. It's a lot clearer, which is huge.
Got it. Yeah, because I recall that you, when you first joined, you were like hustling very hard, very committed, trying to make it work. But you had this sense of, dude, I'm just not moving as fast as I could. I don't know what I don't know. I recall
Exactly.
that first conversation where you said, dude, something needs to change because I'm working very hard and
Hmm.
I'm not scaling as much as I like, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And have you scaled? Have you made money?
Yeah, since I joined, I have at least 3x, and by the end of this week it'll be 4x the revenue. It's just, I mean, even after the first week, I remember I joined on I think it was, I remember being in that Monday call, and then the next Monday, I already over doubled the revenue from, just networking and some of the community. Yeah, it was, it's been surreal, and just the program, just thinking in systems, like this is things that are never, they don't teach us this. Like
They
I'm
didn't
never
teach
gonna
it.
have these types of conversations with anybody else. And that's, I value that so much. Like I can't have, yeah, like nobody's gonna be like, oh, there's a system for waking up, and just things that I think about, like, oh, I don't want to wear five different sets of clothes. I just want to have one outfit, so I don't have to think about things. Or these types of conversations I can't have with anybody else unless it's in self-master, because somebody would get it.
Exactly, exactly. Because, dude, but this is how you make things happen by designing a system that's going to give you the outcomes you want. It is very simple, but nobody teaches this because the education system is not there to empower you. So, dude, that is the biggest realization. But talk a little bit about the transformation because we go deep into systems thinking, into identity, into mental management and mental mastery, physiological training, strategy. How? Because you
Oh
have
yeah.
learned this. Some client once said it was like 10 years of personal development in 8 weeks. So how was your journey? Or how has it been so far?
I think that it's probably I feel like going through the self-master course is like taking some psychedelic trip. Like it completely alters how you think. Like just for like when you say that, everything in life is done systematically, like a normal person would hear that and go, oh, like okay. But like we understand and internalize that. Like if I want X, I know that I need Y and Z in this way to get that output. It's not, there's no luck, there's no guesswork. It's like if I want this, I know that systematically I can set myself up to get that, like whatever it might be. It's it's like reading a bunch of philosophers all packed into one, like with just the information I need.
Plus, you've been jumping on every call, which is super, super useful. If you had to say, so three things you were battling against before that you're not battling against anymore because you have trained with us. That can be, discipline, consistency, focus. What do you think has changed internally? that has allowed you to 3x or 4x your biz within 3 months?
I think that one, definitely, I would say discipline to an extent of like, this is the goal and I'm moving towards that. I'm not, it's a lot. I really find it so much easier to not get distracted by shiny objects, because if I do, like, I just go to the call, we'll talk it out. Like, yeah, then if I didn't have that, I would be moving towards so many different directions without that. Secondly, I think that my understanding of leverage and like systems has been greatly, significantly improved. But like the way I think about things, like doing certain tasks, um, certain projects, you think about like, where's the leverage in this? Like, where am I moving forward? Am I putting in one, getting out one, or is this the type of activity that's 1 to 4? Like, that sort of stuff is not taught about. And when you do start thinking that way, that's where you make big leaps and bounds because you're just killing the competition. And then, yeah, third is definitely focus. Like, people think they know about focus and productivity online with all these flow state threads. No, you don't know. You don't know.
Dude, we have our own methodology. Refund
Exactly. Like
sessions thing.
nobody gets this.
Exactly. I have this idea of this Italian dude that popularized the Pomodoro concept, which we now know it doesn't work, right? So
Yeah.
I've decided that this Spanish dude is going to popularize a ring fence context, and we're just gonna do it.
Definitely. Should make our own app.
Literally,
Ring fence.
literally. Awesome. So who would you say, so more discipline, more focus, leverage, 4x the business? That's absolutely incredible. Now, who would you say this is for, right? Because we select quite people that apply. Not everybody's invited in, right? But who do you say this is for, and who do you believe can use it best?
Well, it's not for people that don't want to be the best versions of themselves in like every aspect of life. So like if that's not something that you're into, and typically that's like founders, like we're the ones who want to be the best at what we do in all areas of life, health, business, like everything in between. Then secondly, if you're not the type of person that sets their sights big, like then it's not for you. Like we're big thinkers, people who want to do a lot with your life or with your goals. Like we think big and we execute on it.
Yes, so because it's so for ambitious people that truly want to get the results, because I see a lot of ambitious people
Yes.
that have no blueprint and follow no system. So they eventually never get what they set out to achieve, right? So that's a big one. You have to have ambition, but at the same time, you need to understand that the way you're probably going about it is just not gonna cut it.
Oh yeah. Ambition without a plan, like a clear cut plan is just chaos. You're just doing so many things that are, yeah, you don't need that. You need clear cut goals and like to channel your ambition. It's like the best place to, we have all this energy, we want to scale and do great things. And then self-mastered is like the road, like we're the car and this is like, here's the road. This is where you go. We just fly down it.
Or personal performance for sure, for sure. And how do people you work with have noticed your transformation? Because you're not the same person in just 3 or 4 months, right?
Oh, right. Yeah. I mean, it's in terms of like people that I know around me and like in this physical where I am, it's just I don't often talk to the same people because they won't get it, you know. But the people that you do like Connor and some of my other friends in the group, they just it's just crazy to have the conversations we have, the things we think about, the topics. Um and that like when you take two people from the same group and we're having like some conversation, the value in that is just crazy. Like I learned so much more versus going to some lecture or something, it's it's unreal.
Plus you can leverage, you can compound it, you can keep refining it, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly. It compounds. Like more and more times I chat with people, like I'm having 2 calls this week with guys from the Self-Mastered group, and that's just I just do that every week, and things you learn, like I would never have these conversations and learn what I have about so many different things I would have never even thought to have learned of. Like what I said in the beginning, I don't know what I don't know. And now we're learning, and it's just they're great people too. So it's the best of both worlds.
Love it. I have a sense that you did not expect the depth of the things that we discuss and the intense
Mm,
everything is, right?
yes. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Like, sometimes in the calls we'll just go super deep on death and spirituality and stuff like that. And it's just to have, this audience, this industry, like us entrepreneurs talking about these topics, like philosophical things and really getting deep, like that's what I live for. Like I love that.
Because that is the hidden lever of everything else, right?
Mm.
So marketing and sales is something you can learn and you can apply it. But the bottleneck is seldom marketing and sales is always something internal that is reflected on marketing and sales. So unless you
Hmm.
master yourself, you are never going to master business, right?
Yeah. I I mean I just see it so clearly now, with everybody around me. A lot of people now will, come up to me and say, how did you do this and that? Or like, oh, good for you. I'm so like, how do I do that? Like, I'm really sick of my job and I want to, do X and Y. And I'm like, look, I could tell you everything you need to know, but unless you are on top of you, like, no one's making decisions for you. Like, the difference between your mind and yourself. I can't help you.
Dude, that's such a deep, deep learning. And you've learned it so young in your life. So, dude, that's
Mm.
that's fundamentally transform your life because once you understand exactly how the mind works, because when you understand how the mind works, then every thought and every emotion is a decision you make to entertain that thought
Hmm.
and that emotions, right? So why would you doubt yourself? Why would you procrastinate? Because you have no control.
Hmm. It's just the fact that we were never like, I was never introduced to that concept until joining here. Like, the fact that most people never think about these things, I just truly wonder how they go through life.
Well, you know how they work through lives. It's a hard state of affairs, right? Because if you're constantly reacting to what happens to you, then you never become free.
Mm. Yeah, there's a great, what was it, Viktor Frankl quote from that between something about the moment of stimulus to reaction in that space. Like we we get to learn how to use that space and master that. Like that's our power.
Between the stimulus and response, there's a gap. Mastery of a gap is what gives life meaning.
Mm.
Viktor Frankl.
Wow.
But this is very present because Marcus Aurelius, for instance, this says, master your mind, understand this, and you will find strength. Who is mastering what mind? Who, right? Think about it. Who is mastering the mind? I don't know. Me. Who are you? See how that works? Because it's hidden in plain sight. But
Mm.
unless you unlock that, you don't see it. Therefore, you believe every emotion and every thought. Therefore, you cannot move forward. Therefore, you procrastinate. Therefore, you don't do what you need to do. That you clutch when you need to go on stage or make a phone call or whatever, right?
Yes, exactly. I just, after like understanding this more and more, it's just boggles my mind that people put so much weight into how they feel and like letting that determine the actions they do. Like it's just your mind. Like it's not you. It's not
Exactly.
you. Yeah.
So powerful. All right. See, someone watching this is on the fence, right? It's been
Mm.
thinking about really unlocking their elite game, taking themselves to their ultimate potential, mastering, spiritually, mentally, physiologically, executively. What would you tell them?
Well, I'll put it this way. You can do what you're doing right now and you can get to where you want to be in 5 years, or you can join Self-Mastered and get there in less than one. It's up to you. Like you'll never move faster than you are now. I know will never feel as good either because you'll finally have a grasp on everything.
That is so important, what you just said, because you have a grasp. So if something is not
Mhm.
working, you know how to fix it. Or at least you have an idea on who to ask and what to do in order to fix it. And that applies to your health, to your sales department, to your relationship, to your Russian skill learning, building, whatever, right? It's all about what is not working, how can I fix it? This is very, very empowering. Hunter, absolute honor have you in the community. It's great to have you around. Great to see your growth. I didn't know you had 3 or 4x out of the week your revenue. Congratulations, babe. That's very good. That's very impressive.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
But you deserve it, dude, because you've worked through the program, you attend every call, you work hard, you're a pleasure to work with. So now the question is, can we 10x that before the end of the year? That's the goal.
That's what we're gonna do. Act on it every day.
Awesome. Mate, thank you very much for your time. See you in the community, all right?
Yes, of course, and thanks so much for having me again. It's been a pleasure.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye.
Cheers.